Memory is often thought of as a storage system that simply records information, but psychologists emphasize that memory is an active and selective process. When we experience events, our brains do not store every detail. Instead, information is filtered based on attention, emotional significance, and relevance. One important distinction psychologists make is between short-term memory and long-term memory. Short-term memory holds information briefly, such as a phone number we plan to dial, while long-term memory stores knowledge and experiences over extended periods. However, not all information in short-term memory becomes long-term memory. Forgetting, therefore, is not always a failure of memory. In many cases, it helps the brain remain efficient by removing unnecessary information. Problems arise when important information is forgotten due to stress, lack of sleep, or insufficient attention during learning. Research shows that techniques like repetition, meaningful association, and adequate rest can significantly improve memory retention. As a result, psychologists argue that forgetting is a natural part of how memory functions, not merely a weakness of the human mind.
Motivation plays a crucial role in human behavior, especially when it comes to achieving goals. Psychologists often distinguish between intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation comes from internal satisfaction, such as enjoyment or personal interest, while extrinsic motivation is driven by external rewards like grades, money, or praise. Research suggests that intrinsic motivation tends to lead to deeper engagement and longer-lasting commitment. For example, students who study because they enjoy learning are more likely to persist through challenges than those motivated only by grades. However, extrinsic motivation is not necessarily ineffective. In fact, external rewards can be useful for initiating behavior, particularly when tasks are unfamiliar or difficult. The problem arises when external rewards replace internal interest entirely. Psychologists therefore argue that the most effective motivational strategies combine both types. By supporting autonomy and providing meaningful goals, educators and employers can help individuals develop internal motivation while still benefiting from appropriate external incentives.
Sleep is often viewed as a passive state, but psychologists emphasize its active role in cognitive functioning. During sleep, the brain processes information, consolidates memories, and prepares for future learning. As a result, sleep deprivation can significantly impair attention, decision-making, and emotional regulation. Studies show that individuals who consistently get insufficient sleep are more likely to experience reduced concentration and slower reaction times. These effects are especially noticeable in tasks that require complex thinking or sustained attention. Sleep also affects emotional responses. When people are tired, they may react more strongly to stress and find it harder to manage negative emotions. Over time, chronic sleep deprivation can contribute to mental health problems. Because of these effects, psychologists argue that sleep should be considered a critical factor in performance and well-being, not a luxury. Establishing regular sleep schedules and reducing screen exposure before bedtime are commonly recommended strategies.